So your first impressions when you look at the bike, it looks really low, and it is. The seat is very, very low. I think it's like 26-inch seat height. So that could be good or bad depending on what you like. Most people will find that a lower seat height is more confidence inspiring. So, and it is. I like the low seat. It's pretty cool. However, that makes the ground clearance kind of it's pretty bad actually. I scrape my pegs like on moderate turns, so something you have to be aware of, and this road is definitely bringing me the wrong direction. But so the seat is really low. It's fairly comfortable, you know. It's good enough for cruising around. If you're going to do any long distance, then you probably don't want this bike anyway. I'll talk about why, other than the seat. Yeah, but it's comfortable enough for, you know, average riding. The bike feels heavy when you're pushing it around, but when you're riding it, it actually feels really not heavy. You know, as far as for a cruiser goes, it's not very heavy, and the power to weight on this is actually pretty good for a cruiser. So the next thing you might notice looking at it when you sit on it is the mirrors are down there, and I like them. I think they work better than the mirrors on my R6. You know, you don't have to you know, chicken wing your fucking arm in just to get a look at what's behind you. I like the mirrors exactly where they're at, and I wouldn't change them. Whenever you're taking the hand, everything in the hands feels perfect. That's exactly where I want everything, and I like it right where it's at. Here you have your blinkers are on individual sides, so you can see the left here, the right here, and you push it in and then you push again to cancel it. But if you're actually making a full turn, then they are self-canceling. So, you know, the one on each handle kind of takes some getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's pretty good. I like them. So the next thing you might notice is all these fucking buttons. It seems like there's a lot, but there's really not. You have your kill switch and your on, then your starter and your four-way blinkers right here on the right hand, and then on the left hand side you have your horn, your brights, your bright and dim selector, and then you have this, which changes. Hopefully you can see that it changes the information on the tach. So. The next immediately apparent thing whenever you're sitting on here is the forward controls. Hopefully you can see that. My feet are pretty well, you know, in front of me, stretched out a little bit. And at first that was like really fucking weird. But now that I've gotten used to it, it's actually pretty comfortable and I like it. That being said, they can always be changed if you like the mids or whatever. And you can pull them back just a few inches or push them forward even more, depending on what you like. The rear brake is good. You know, the brakes on this thing are okay. They're not the best. You do have the single disc in the front, but I mean it's adequate. It's not like this is it's not a super sport crotch rocket type of bike. So your brakes are adequate for the speeds that you should be traveling on this thing. It is a 5-speed, you know, 1 down, 4 up. Neutral is a half a click up. You know, it's your standard shit. You can see right here in between my legs, there's like nothing. So if you're coming from a sport bike, you're gonna kind of want to, grab onto something, and you're not. There's nothing to grab onto, and that kind of goes in line with my concerns about the seat a little bit, because the seat doesn't exactly hold you in. So if you're just kind of riding and you're not like ready for it, you kind of scoot back and your ass curves into the seat, and it can be uncomfortable if you're riding kind of aggressively. You know, it hurts your asshole a little bit. But it's not, you know, unbearable or anything like that. I like where everything in the front is. I like the gauge. I can read it just fine. It is, however, reversed. I wish that it had digital speed and an analog tach. It has the analog speed and the digital tach, and the digital tach is a little bit it's not the greatest, kind of lugs behind what the bike is actually doing. You have a gear indicator, and then you have your standard, you have a low fuel light and all this bullshit. I don't know if this bike has ABS. I really do not I really don't even know. I have an ABS light in there I can see, but I couldn't even fucking tell you if my own motorcycle has ABS or not. I don't know. Yep, probably not. Okay, so I don't think I have ABS because I can lock up the front like and slide, so I doubt it. But you know, it's plenty fast, and it has a lot of good usable torque for street riding, so that's nice. It's really nice. The air cleaner on the 16, you can see it there. If you're trying to squeeze the tank with your legs, yes, your legs will, your knee, your shin will hit it or whatever, but it's better than the 15 was. The 15 had that oval shaped one, and my knee just hit it just kind of sitting here. So I like the round one on the 16 better for sure. The suspension's okay in the front. It's probably a little soft in the front, and then in the rear you only have like an inch of travel or something. You have a very small amount of travel. The shocks are adjustable, but that doesn't change the fact that your travel is so short that you're gonna bottom out sometimes. The bars are in a good spot. You know, I like them. They're far enough back to where you can kind of relax if you want to, you know, but they're far enough forward to where if you bend your arms just a little bit, you get, you know, decent control, and you can lean forward and, you know, ride like a douche if you want, you know. Hopefully you can see there's a big fat front tire up there. I'm not sure what size it is, but you would think that would make the bike like just feel gooey and fat, and it really doesn't. You know, it's pretty good. It handles good, as I've said already. Some things aren't great, especially for long distance. You get a lot of wind. You know, I like the wind. It keeps the sweat from building up on my asshole. Coming from a super sport, especially the R6, I think I said this already, but right here in the fucking sack area on an R6, it gets so hot that it's almost unbearable to ride the fucking bike in the summertime. And right now it's like 95 degrees and 105% humidity, so it's really fucking oppressively hot, and you don't need that extra heat hitting you in the thighs and in the sack. On this bike with such a gap and so much wind, it feels much more comfortable in the summertime especially. Other thing that's not very good for long distance is the shocks. You know, it's not the most comfortable. The seat isn't the most comfortable. You know, they're all adequate for just cruising around, but they're not going to be the best of the best as far as for comfort. Another thing, and this is the biggest issue that I have so far with the bike, and I understand that you sacrifice a little to get the cool looks and whatever, just like with the suspension. You get that lowered look and stuff, so you don't have as much travel. But with the tank, you know, the tank looks pretty fucking awesome. And with that awesome looking tank, you get like 2 gallons of fuel, which is like fucking nothing. You're always running on empty if you have one of these bikes. You always need fuel. So that's something to keep in mind also if you're going, you know, if you plan on going like touring or some stupid shit, then this probably, again, is not the best choice. However, I have seen that you can swap the Iron 883 tanks, which give you like another 1.5 gallons or something, and it's pretty much just a bolt-on swap. I've been getting about 60 to 70 miles between fuel ups, which is like nothing. You know, that's just fucking ridiculous. And that's my biggest issue with the bike. That's the biggest negative that I can find, is the fuel capacity, you know, / range. And you know, that, like I said, you sacrifice a little for looks, but I think that's a little bit more sacrifice than you gain for the cool looks. This bike is excellent for around town. It's lighter than most other Harleys. There is no storage on it, if you can't tell. Normally under the seat of most sport bikes you have a, you know, under the back seat, the passenger pillion, you have a little small compartment for your paperwork and shit. On here there's none of that shit. It did not come with saddlebags or anything like that, so again, not the best thing if you need to go on long trips and take a lot of luggage and bullshit. You probably want to look into some of those big, you know, more touring oriented bikes. But for the kind of riding I do, this thing is good. Things that I would change: the seat I would change. The tank, I thought about it, but I don't think I'm gonna, because I don't normally go that far, like off into the middle of nowhere. Where I ride, there's usually plenty of fuel stations. Seat, and it's not that it's extremely uncomfortable, but I want something with a little more support in the back for whenever I do go a little fast. I'm not just sliding backwards. Another thing I'm gonna try, that's actually where I'm on my way to now. I'm gonna get an ammo can, not a big one, but I'm gonna get a thin ammo can if I can find one up here at this little place, and I'm gonna make a saddlebag out of it. Just one, I think, and you know, that'll give me a little bit of storage space. So that's another thing. Maybe later on I'll change the headlight, or you know, something like that. I thought about putting the controls in a different spot, but I actually kind of grown to like these, so I'm gonna leave that where it's at. Maybe in the future I'll put some steel braided brake lines just to give it a little more feel. Like I said, they're adequate, but you can always make things better. And the number one thing is going to be the exhaust, of course. You know, it's very quiet. I'm sure all you can hear is the wind. So the exhaust, you know, that's something that most people plan on changing anyway. You know, even when you're buying a bike, you don't buy it and think, ooh, I like that stock exhaust sound. Nobody does that. So those are the things I plan on changing so far. You know, there's not a whole lot. I love the way it looks. I like the way it sits. I like the way it rides. You know, the back does kind of bottom out, you know, but for the most part it's not too bad. And the seat will help with that too. If you put a little bit more cushiony seat, you know, your back won't hurt as bad when you're bottoming out. So there's just fucking gravels all over the road right here. But other than that, the bike stock is very, very close to where I wanted it to be. That's all I got for the shit that's on the bike, you know, that you can see. I'll do another video maybe in the near future. Smells like burnt plastic. What the fuck is that? I hope it's not like my boot or something. Anyway, I'll try and do another video, kind of a walk around and talk about some of the features of the bike that you can't see when I'm sitting on it and riding it. So be sure and subscribe. Stay tuned for that. And thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and follow me on Twitter @TheGovernator. Peace!